Hey everybody, this is Alan Fine, and I'm here with Steve Hirschon, who's the Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel. And we are at the Avoya Travel Land Forum, and that's at the Dreams Bahia Mita Surf and Spa in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Now, to put it simply, and I've been saying this because we're doing 4 videos talking about Avoya, they are a vacation booking platform connecting travelers to independent travel advisors. But that simple idea has a lot going for it. There's a lot to explain it. And so we're going to try to understand it over these 4 interviews. But here's the funny part. Steve's the Senior Vice President of Sales, and Avoya doesn't do sales, but Avoya supports the sales of its travel advisors, and that's what we're going to talk about here on Insider Travel Report. Steve, thank you for talking to us.
Pleasure to be here with you, Alan.
Now, so let's talk about, we're here at the Land Forum, and so who's here? What's the breakdown?
We have a few hundred of our independent affiliates. Breakdown is pretty interesting because a good 25 to 30% of them have been with Avoya for less than 1 year.
Right.
And we even have a few that are at the other end of the range that are here with Avoya for more than 15 years.
And so what does that indicate to you?
Well, it indicates, one, that we have a lot of loyalty. People stick around for a long time. But we're also growing the network at an incredibly rapid rate because, as you know, in this business, size matters. And you're not important to vendors unless you're continuing to grow because they're continuing to grow their capacity.
And so, and what we're accomplishing here is that they're meeting vendors and there's a dialogue going on.
Yeah, you know, having been on the supplier side in my career for many years, the personal relationships that you build when meeting suppliers are invaluable. I learned early in my career that once I met an agent, it was really hard to say no to them when they called to ask me for something. So meeting the vendors in person, super critical for your business.
This is live, we're together. Virtual meetings, where do you think it's going to fit in the future?
Yeah, so that's a great question because it was initially kind of forced on everybody due to COVID. Right. And then when we came out of COVID, we realized, well, the virtual events were great because we were able to get a lot of educational content out of the way, number one. Number two, there was no cost involved for the affiliates, so everybody could attend as opposed to traveling and spending money to do that. So we get all the content as much as we can done in the virtual event. So when people come to the Land Forum here or our conference coming up in September, they do have some downtime because they used to be really pretty intensive events, and we want them to be able to experience the product that they're visiting as well.
All right, so let's move from this particular conference to actually what you do to support the travel, the independent agencies, and where it really starts with is the lead generation and how it's grown in its the types of leads and the power of the leads.
So, just by coincidence, I started my career with Avoya as an independent agency owner. And looking around at different host agencies, doing my due diligence, they mostly would say the same thing. We pay you this much commission, we have tons of support, great vendor relations. And then my question always would be to the host agency, where do I find the clients? And they say, well, that's your job. And I say, well, if I could do that, what would I need you for? I would just get a CLIA number and start booking my clients. Avoya was the only one that had a different answer to that. They say, we market, we spend millions of dollars looking for clients, we drive them to your agency. All we ask that you do is do what you do best, sell and close them.
And we'll help you learn how to sell better, which we're going to get to.
We do, certainly, because it's very different than in the past when clients would walk into your office or you know them personally. You're dealing with clients that you're never going to meet, you don't know personally. It's a very different selling environment, and also, more importantly, you're probably not the only one that they found online that they're talking to.
Let's stay with the leads, though, and then we'll get to the other support you do. So the first kind of lead is the live lead. That was your bread and butter to begin with.
Right, and it is still the primary driving force of our lead business, Avoya Live Leads. And those leads are done based on the marketing efforts that we do online. People can either pick up the phone and call, and we have a call center in California that gets the information from the client, decides where that call should be routed. We have technology that routes it based upon performance of the specialists that sell. Interesting thing too with the leads is they're not distributed randomly. So they're distributed based upon what you're a specialist in. So if, Alan, you're a Carnival specialist and I'm a Royal Caribbean specialist, Carnival lead is offered out, it's only going to be offered to you, not to me.
And isn't it also the level of complexity is figured out that a travel advisor who's been doing Carnival for a long time will get it more complex maybe?
Well, not necessarily more time, but better performance. So the leads are distributed based upon performance. So if you and I are both Carnival specialists, but you're closing twice as well as I will, the system will keep hoping that you'll claim the lead before it offers it down to me.
So now, moving from live leads, you came up with smart leads.
So smart leads was a way to help our agency owners figure out who are their best past clients to be prospecting right now. And we have a tremendous business intelligence team that is able to go through all the data, look at very different criteria, whether it's when they book, the value of the client, what they typically book, and every day feed out to our agency owners, these are the 5 best prospects for you to call today. If you're not claiming live leads and you want to do both.
But this is where a travel advisor would be like, I haven't called him in a while. Should I call him now? I'm not sure. Will I be bothering him? This takes the guesswork out.
It does. And also what happens in most agencies is they're always so busy focusing on new business that they tend not to remember how valuable their past clients are. And they don't spend enough time staying in touch. You know, I always say if you want your clients to repeat with you, you have to repeat with them.
So then you and I were talking. So the next one is the one that the traditional one that all travel advisors, when they join a host agency, then they got to find their own clients. So now you went, oh, by the way, we should help them with that.
We do, and we have a tremendous marketing team that prepares all kinds of resources for the agencies to use to go out and market to their own clients. So even though we make less money on personal clients of the agency owners, we still want to support them because they're coming here for full support, not just to take Avoya live leads.
And then we're going to be talking to Ashley Hunter, the Senior Vice President of Partnerships, but you have a partnership with the Travel Readers Network.
Right.
And that helps with leads too. Let's talk about that.
It does. So they have a program called the TLN Profiler. And basically what that is kind of the old agency locator program, but on steroids. And what I mean by that is the agency owner creates a profile, talks about what specialties they're especially good at. When consumers go to that website, they can drill in on a particular agency. They're the specialist for Hawaii. That's what I'm looking for. That's the person I want to talk to. That lead is generated and offered immediately back to that agency owner.
So as I said, we're going to talk to her more about that partnership because it also dovetails with Avoya Air and hotels. All right, but now let's talk about the Agent Power technology.
Yeah, so Agent Power is our proprietary technology, and really what it does is it takes every single function that an agency owner might have, from CRM to keeping track of commissions to email to sending confirmations. Even the booking engines that are available from the vendors, we take all their feeds into our system and make them all look the same to the user. So they don't have to learn Costa Click and Cruising Power and this one, and they're all their different nuances. We're the filter in between that makes them all look the same, so all they have to do is learn Agent Power. It's a web-based system, of course. Our agents are sitting here at the landform. You just saw one at a bar by chance, on top of the bar with the laptop. They can book from anywhere as long as they have an internet connection.
Right, so I don't know if everybody understands what this means. You know, if everybody has a completely different database with completely different field names, these guys make it all one consistent interface. That's got to be helpful to the travel advisor.
Sure. I mean, you know, once you get that muscle memory of how you enter a booking, it's the same.
So also you help support the travel advisors by with education, and that's another partnership.
Right. So a couple of them. So we realized years ago that to grow the network as significantly as we want to, that we needed to look at bringing people in who are new to travel, and that's a benefit for everybody in the industry. So we also realized that they need some basic education before they start selling travel to consumers. So we created our own education program that people who are new to travel will take before they decide to affiliate with us, or it's still valuable enough for them that they can affiliate with somebody else if they wanted to. And part of the education fee for the platform includes their initial membership in both CLIA and ASTA. CLIA because we're not the be-all and end-all in education. Clio offers some great programs for that. And ASTA, I just believe every agent should be part of because of all the great work they do. And perfect timing. This is legislation week up in D.C. for ASTA, so.
But I mean, we're here for this is a land forum, so Clio doesn't really apply.
No, but still, cruising is going to be a significant share of most people's business at Avoya. Less so now than 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we were pretty cruise-centric. Then we moved into escorted tours, and now, as you see with the turnout here, heavily into land and resorts.
Travel advisors, they get their sales down, they figure it out, and sometimes they're a little scared to get into groups. How do you make it palatable and easy for them? And then let's talk about what the affinity groups are, the two different groups.
So first, there's two different kinds of groups. So large agencies can typically block out what cruise lines might call promotional groups, meaning you're taking the space to get a certain rate. The people that are booked into it don't know each other. Then you have affinity groups. Affinity groups mean they're all traveling together. It's the garden club, it's the families, it's the chess club, whatever. And our agencies are able to network in their communities and find these affinity groups. And there was just an announcement this morning from Viola de Velasco, who heads up our group department, about the new technology that we're implementing to help them make their booking process easier with groups, affinity groups, and the accounting work and all the confirmations and everything. So it's getting to be a bigger and bigger chunk of our business.
Let's talk about sales in general. So you had a record-breaking first and second quarter?
We did, and I don't think it should be. I hope everybody's doing that because coming out of COVID, we're not even comparing to last year's numbers. We're going back to 2019 because that was the last real significant year. And what we're finding, not just that bookings are up, but that the average booking value is going up. And we know what's happening is that consumers, after 3 years of not traveling, are saying, I'm going to go more often, and I'm going to spend more money when I do go. And that just makes everybody more money.
And so what are the destination trends you're seeing since 2019?
Yeah, so well, on the land forum side, certainly Hawaii, Caribbean are probably the two top ones. No surprises there. That's pretty typical for land. On cruising, Europe has done very well this year, and Alaska has done very well this year.
And also, you've been tracking the sales and the commissions since 2019. And what do they look like?
Commissions are way up over 2019, and that's primarily driven, of course, because the average bookings are up so much. So an agent who made 100 bookings in 2019 and makes the same 100 bookings in 2023 is probably making 20% more money, at least.
And then what about departure trends since 2019?
Yeah, so one thing that we're seeing is that people are booking further out. So a benefit for an agent because they can plan their cash flow better. Probably pretty scary for cruise lines if they're not booked at the last minute because people just are not in that last minute booking mode. They want to plan, they want to spend far enough in advance. Problem for new agents, and this is an industry-wide problem, is when an agent makes a booking today, he can book a world cruise for 2025, but he's not getting paid until final payment. So agents need cash flow to be able to make it until their bookings start to depart. So that's an industry problem that we all need to think about and address. How can we get cash to agents sooner? If we want to get people into this business, they need to be able to make money faster, or at least be paid faster.
Let's talk about let's compare the types of travel. So cruise, resorts, hotels, and airlines, what are the numbers?
Yeah, so I mean, give you some rough ideas. I mean, we're still predominant cruise. I would say escorted tour number 2, now land and resorts 3. We just launched Avoya Flights this year, our first attempt at an integrated system of air booking engines. We have about half our network already in a beta program for that, and that's going to be more fully launched in July.
Talk about travel advisors who are unaffiliated or who want to learn more about Avoya. Where should they go?
Right, so they can go to avoyanetwork.com, and my question would be, really, these days, why would anybody not be affiliated? Because there's no downside to it. You know, we have all the resources that we have. I'll say this because they report to me too, but our support team, I think, is better than anybody else's that's out there. So there's no reason to be working on your own when you can get the same higher commissions. You get group space that you can't get on your own. You get all the TLN, the Travel Leaders Network benefits that we can offer too. So we're kind of double dipping there on groups. I think the question would be, why wouldn't you be affiliated with somebody, whether it's Avoya or somebody else?
And you were saying when we were talking, where else can you start a business and get a lead on day one?
Yeah, I mean, if you're new to travel, you think about it, the hurdle cost to get into business is what? You know, a few $100s to join a network, a laptop if you need one, your internet. So under $2,000 maybe, and you're in business, like I did 18 years ago. I sat down the first day my phone is ringing. It's a customer looking for a gift for their parents for their 35th anniversary, a cruise on Celebrity, and I'm like, I can do this.
That's my question. What was your first booking? Do you remember? And there it is. Right, yeah. Okay.
I remember it so well because it was like my first day on the phone. By chance, the woman lived about 15 minutes away from me in Florida, and I'm still new to the system, so I'm struggling to make the booking, but she's not hanging up because the party's that night. She needs the confirmation and the gift card to go, so she patiently waits for me to finish the booking. I send her the confirmation. I'm like, I'm off and running. And we see that all the time with new agencies. If they can make bookings right away,
it's reinforcing.
They're going to be successful for the long term.
And so Avoya claims the highest agency sales. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's publicly available information about the different networks and how much sales they're doing, what the size of the networks are. And Avoya has never been one about growing to tremendous numbers. It's more been about the quality of the agents in our network. So our agents average probably close to 400,000 in sales per location, and that's more than double the next competitor.
So let's summarize this whole thing. We go out to over 120,000 travel advisors. What do you want them to know? What do you want them to be thinking?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing to think of, we just kind of touched base on, if you're on your own, there's no need to be. I mean, there's so many benefits from affiliating with somebody. The business is growing rapidly. We've talked about leads before, so part of my responsibility is getting these leads claimed. I have never, in 16 years on the employee side, I've never seen a time when we had 0 leads available. I'm always asking people to claim leads or trying to get more leads claimed, as opposed to, I've never seen a time where people are sitting waiting for a customer.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for having me as part of this land forum.
Well, thanks for making the effort to come down here. It's been a pleasure meeting you, Alan.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.